You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
I hold you in my heart.
I hold you in my heart.
You are a part of me.
You are a part of me.
You are the face of God.
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 I hold you in my heart.
I hold you in my heart.
You are a part.
You are a part of me.
You are the face of
God. Well, after that nice meditative song, welcome to CSLRV and Unity of Medford. And we'd like to invite you to stand now for our opening song, We Come Together. And the words should be right up there. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. And lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life,
Every walk of life,
every creed and color,
every creed and color.
in kinship we unite.
Oh, in honor of the God in each other.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say namaste, I bow to you.
Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Woo!
Thank you, Anton Miserak and Laura Berryhill. And thank you all. We have indeed come together in the name of love. I'm Kimberly Hawkins. I'm the senior minister here at Rogue Valley Center for Spiritual Living in partnership with Unity of Medford. We are a radically diverse, spiritually progressive faith community, and we teach tools here to transform personal lives and to help make a world that works for all. If you're here for the very first time, I would love you to raise your hand so we can give you a little love. Anybody for the first time this morning? Okay, and I want to say, oh, here, yeah, welcome. I thought I didn't recognize you yet. Welcome. We have brochures newly minted, so if you've come for the first time recently and not received a packet with a brochure in it, please raise your hand and Vivian will give you one, or you can pick one up on your way outside. We had to revise our brochure. So let's see. We have a cast of characters to introduce. You've already met Laura and Anton, our beautiful musicians. Yeah, so blessed. And they brought their Tibetan bowls this morning because we are going to do a meditation before our New Year's Burning Bowl release ceremony. Reverend Stephanie Clark is on the pulpit with me. She'll be doing our invocation and reading shortly. And Reverend Kim Bebo did a beautiful meditation before the service this morning. She's sitting high watch, which means she's praying throughout the service for the highest and best good for everybody here and the beautiful unfoldment of our service. So if you haven't already done so, please turn your cell phones off or in airplane mode. And we have, it's the first Sunday in January, so it is our tradition to honor anyone who has a birthday this month. There weren't as many in January as some months, but if you have a birthday in January, please stand and we can sing you a quickie version of Happy Birthday. The last lines are, happy birthday, we sure do love you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We sure do love you.
And now it's time to take our collective deep breath as we turn it over once again to our lovely musicians to prepare us for invocation and reading. After this next song, we don't usually clap because we like to remain in a quiet place for the opening prayer.
So we're going to do the Tara mantra. This is a mantra for universal compassion. Om Tare Tare, Tu Tare, Tu Re Soha. You're welcome to chant with us.
Tare tare, tu tare tu re soha. Om 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 tare tare. Tu tare tu re soha. Om tare tare, tu tare tu re soha. Tare, tu tare tu re soha. Om tare 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 tare, tu tare tu re soha. tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha, om tare tare, tu tare tu re so ha.
And so moving ever more deeply inwards, letting ourselves be carried by the beautiful tone, the beautiful sound that has just been created by our musicians. We go ever deeper into the everlasting living well within, knowing that there is only one power, one presence, one life. Some people call that God. It is the life that is birthless and deathless, the life that is ever present and everywhere present. It is the life that I am. It is the life that each person in this sanctuary is. It's the life of each person who is watching on the live stream, the life of each person who watches the live stream at a later time. Every being is another way that God has individualized itself perfectly, beautifully, and well. And I know that we are joined in consciousness here this morning. We are here by divine appointment in order to go deeper in our awareness of who we truly are. And so I speak my word for this sacred service and know that everything has been pre-orchestrated and preordained by the Spirit. Everything is unfolding after a pattern of harmony and beauty and love. I bless my dear sister, Reverend Kimberly, and know that her message falls on listening hearts, listening ears, and that the message of love and truth and freedom that emits from her lips is a message that is heard not only here in this sanctuary, but around the planet. For what is known at one point in mind is known at all points in mind simultaneously. The word of truth is being spread here this day, and each of us is an instrument for that. I bless our musicians, our audiovisual crew, our youth, all of the volunteers, the ushers, the greeters, the kitchen staff, everybody who has said yes to being of service here this morning. And I know that something magnificent is unfolding here, something that could not have happened unless we had agreed to be here to usher it forth. We are the appointed ones who have been called together this morning to bring forth more of heaven on earth, to bring forth love in all of its many forms and in all of its splendor. So I bless it all, I name it good, I give thanks for the sacred outcome of this time together, for the power that is unleashed through our burning bowl ritual, for the love that is felt, sensed, known in this sanctuary, the love that transcends all fear, all hurt, all pain. How grateful I am, and I release the word now into law, and I let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. So our reading this morning is an excerpt from a transcript of a 1962 closed class in London, England, And it was a class taught by my favorite spiritual teacher, Joel Goldsmith. And the title of the class was Putting Off the Old Man and Rebirth. So you know me, I'm not going to be content with talking about the old man. I've changed the language, so it's gender neutral now. When anyone touches the consciousness of an individual who has received their spiritual light, they are touching the fullness of the Christ consciousness. That brings us to this. The purpose of a work like ours is dying to the old human self, putting off the old human self, and being reborn of the Spirit. Not being partially reborn, being wholly reborn, putting on a whole new mind, that mind that was in Christ Jesus, putting on a whole new consciousness. You have heard me say this. From the first moment that you first opened a book of truth, I do not care what school of truth it was, from the first moment that you started reading, from that moment, the old human self began dying, and the new individual began their rebirth. The new divine being began their rebirth. In other words, the old consciousness began to disappear, and the new consciousness began to appear. Thank you very much.
We're going to do a song that I wrote that hopefully will help us ask those questions that bring about that new consciousness. Deep inside, a voice so clear, yet so far away. A dream that calls out to the heart of another way. When the knowing grows so strong, a river to the sea, every purpose of my life flowing into me. How can I live deep inside this dream awaking? How can I give of my life, myself? How can I know on this journey there's no turning back? And how can I grow from the courage of my heart? In the quiet of my mind lies the jewel of wisdom. The perfection of my heart holds the purest vision. In the stillness of my soul are the keys to freedom, showing me the way. Oh, the sweetness of my life, returning back to all the bounty of this form. All I ask is the power of my joy, the essence of my truth, the expression of my heart. I open it to you. In the quiet of my mind lies the jewel of wisdom. In the perfection of my heart holds the purest vision. In the stillness of my soul are the keys to freedom, opening the way. How can I live deep inside this dream awaking? How can I give of my life, myself? How can I know on this journey there's no turning back? And how can I grow from the courage of my heart? Ooh, how can I live? Oh, how can I give? Ooh, how can I live? I can live.
Absolutely beautiful. Laura Berryhill and Anton. Woo! You know, I'm a little rusty. I was away last week. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, but I forgot to say one thing at the beginning that I like to say, which is we welcome each of you, no matter where you happen to be on your own personal spiritual journey. As I was sitting here listening to the beautiful music before the beginning, the official beginning of the service, I received this message, and it was just, welcome home. And welcome home. And for me, it feels like, yes, back home in my home here in Medford, but also back home in the work that I do, that my soul was called to do. And I share that in part because I think that that's true for each of us, that we are welcomed home, that each of us is right where we are meant to be right now. No matter what things look like, no matter what you feel you'd like to bring in new this year or let go of, the fact is that you are exactly where Spirit meant you to be, and that everything that's happened up until this point has served your highest good, if you allow it to, you know. And in part, that means releasing what no longer serves, which is what we're going to do today. I was back in Arizona last week, so I want to thank Reverend Stephanie Clark for presiding last week, and Reverend Laura Stewart for her beautiful talk, which I'll refer to a little later. She did a beautiful job. And I was spending time with my son, Tony, my daughter-in-law, Sarah, and our two grandchildren, 6 and 8 years old, Virginia and Cecilia. And I was reminded that there is indeed a reason why we have young children when we are young. They are absolutely delightful, and the home is so filled with love, and it was a wonderful week, but my gosh, the energy that those young ones have is unbelievable. My daughter-in-law, Sarah, while I was back there, shared with me, she said, you know, when I was young, I used to hear older people say, time goes so fast, time flies. She said, I never understood what they meant. And I think it's because young ones, like my grandchildren, they are so immersed in the present moment. You know, time kind of slows down because they're just right there, no matter what's happening. And Sarah said, you know, now I kind of get what people were talking about. So I came across a quote this week that speaks, well, it kind of gives us some advice about this. It says, the bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot. Now, I would shift that a bit. I've talked before about, yes, we get to decide and create and welcome in the life we want, the experiences we want. And I like to think of myself as the co-pilot and Spirit God as the pilot. But we do indeed, setting intentions this time of year. This is a magical time of year. Can you feel it? And I know the new year has already begun, but boy, Janus, of course, the god, the Roman god after whom the month of January was named, had two faces. Janus had two faces so that he could look back to the past and, evaluate what had happened, and forward to the future to welcome in what was still to come. He was the god of thresholds, of doorways, of new beginnings and of endings. So I think it's a wonderful time of year to take stock in what has transpired this past year, and then to welcome in. And Reverend Stephanie is going to do a workshop after service today, New Year, New You, and I highly recommend that you attend in order to really set the stage for the kind of 2025 you want to experience. How many of you have been to a Reverend Stephanie workshop? Yeah, this is going to be a powerful experience. So let's see, where am I now in all of this? One of my New Year's practices has been to spend time, and I did it this past week when I got back from Arizona, to spend time looking at my calendar, my digital calendar, and reviewing what happened each month for 2024. We forget sometimes, and we tend to forget sometimes the good things. We have reptilian brains that tend to focus on what went wrong and what we need to be aware of, or mindful in a protective way. And it's just a beautiful way to remember and give thanks for what has transpired. And then today, what we'll be doing with the burning bowl is thinking about, what do we want not to carry with us across that threshold to the new year? What no longer serves us that we're aware of that we can release in community? All right, so I came across also, I love the way this happens. When I choose a topic, things come. Spirit just presents things to me. And I came across this story. It was actually told by one of the meditation leaders on the app Insight Timer. It's the story of a man and his rocks. So there was an older man who collected rocks. His whole lifetime, he collected rocks, and he placed them inside his home everywhere. I mean, the mantle, the kitchen table, the countertops. It got to the point where there was no more room in the house for his rocks, but he kept collecting them. He started on the outside in his yard, and he placed them all around the house. And as he aged and as his health began to fail, his family started thinking about, maybe we better do something about clearing this clutter, because it's getting out of control. So they asked him if it would be okay if they contacted local museums to see if they'd be interested in his rock collection. They were not. But one geologist got excited about the idea and said he would come and look at the collection. So one morning he brought an assistant, and they spent 2 hours carefully combing through as many of the rocks as they could. After which they came to the conclusion that there was absolutely nothing special about any of these rocks. None of them were gems or special or worthy of, preserving. And so the geologist asked the man, what gives with these rocks? Where'd you get them, and what are you doing? And the man said, well, every time in my life someone has hurt me, wronged me, upset me, I pick up a rock and bring it home. So his entire collection of rocks represented hurts, grudges, bad things, and he surrounded himself by these things. Imagine how that affected his relationships, because he was focusing on the hurtful things that happened. Imagine how it affected his well-being mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even his health. To carry around, this was a weight not only figurative, not only what's the word I want? Physically in reality, but it was figuratively a weight as well. So I just think, again, a reptilian brain wants to hang on to those things, but it's just not healthy, and it doesn't leave room in the new coming days for joy and exploration and deeper connections with people and so on. So I'd like us to take a moment to recognize the gifts of each situation we've had this past year. The growth opportunities, which is kind of a euphemism for the challenges, right? What can we be grateful for? everything, really, because everything was either an opportunity to love or receive love or a lesson of some sort that our soul needed to learn. And imagine instead of collecting grievances like this man did, that we collected gratitude rocks, figuratively, that we collected memories to be grateful for, to remind us of the goodness of life, the love that we are expressing and receiving in life. So as we ring in this new year, let's release those rocks. We're going to have an opportunity to look at what rocks we are still carrying around that are weighting us down, letting go of the old. You know, last week, Reverend Laura really set up this experience for us beautifully. Her talk was, we attract what we feed. And she had the analogy of birds. Her dad was a big bird person, and you attracted different birds depending on what seed, what food you put out. And we are the same. We attract experiences in our life depending on what thoughts we're feeding, right? Are we feeding the rocks of resentment, or are we feeding the gems of gratitude? So let's see. I would like to lead us in a meditation in a moment. I just want to set this up. Our ushers are going to come forward now. We're going to have 2 sets of ushers. You're each going to receive 3 things: an index card, a small bit of flash paper, and a pen. And what we're going to do is I'm going to lead you in a meditation so that we can think of and have revealed to us those things we want to leave behind in the new year. As you meditate, please go ahead, you guys, and begin to pass these out. Vivian, okay, she's instructing her team here. I'm going to invite you, while we're doing the meditation, if something comes to mind that you want to release, feel free to write it on your index card, all right? Some of you may prefer to wait till the meditation's over, and I'll give you a little time to write the things down then. But ultimately, what you're going to do is write on the small little paper, the flash paper, the white paper, a word or phrase that reminds you of each thing you want to release. There's not a lot of room there. You can't write a long narrative. That's why you have the index card. Now, when you come forward, I'll remind you, please do not put your index card in the flame, because we will have a fire and we will probably set off the sprinklers and the fire alarms. The flash paper, what you're going to do is just drop it into the flame. Just drop it. So, in fact, I'm going to show you when we start it. I'll do mine first, and it won't hurt you. There's nothing that can hurt you, but you just need to drop it, and it will flash. Okay, so as you receive your packet, let's have, if you would please start your wonderful meditation music, and if you've already received your tools, I invite you now to go into the stillness. Take a couple, not just a couple, take some deep cleansing breaths. Sometimes it's good to take a nice deep inhale and an exhale that is even slower than your inhale. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And as we continue to simply focus on that breath, you might allow your breath to help you make that 18-inch journey from your head to your heart. Breathing in deeply through the crown chakra at the top of your head. And as you exhale, imagine that light filtering down to your heart space. Breathing in and breathing out with the intention of allowing that heart space, that heart chakra, that lotus flower, some call it the cave of the heart, just allowing it to expand, to open. It's here in that heart space where our deep spiritual truth is revealed to us. Saying a word of thanks for all that transpired last year. Knowing each event, each relationship, each experience always works together ultimately for our good. And the disciple Paul wrote in Romans, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So as we reflect on this past year, let's begin to ask the heart, that higher wisdom self, Holy Spirit, if you prefer that term. What is it I'm called to release as I begin 2025? What is it I am called to let go? Something that no longer serves me. Something comes, you might want to jot it on your index card. You don't have to. What is it I would like to release to the burning bowl for the good, for the freedom, for the upliftment of my soul? To help deepen this process, let's look at some specific areas where you may want to choose or allow to be revealed to you something to let go of. Are there any rocks you've been carrying around or storing or cherishing that represent unforgiveness, resentment, anger towards someone else? Or perhaps toward yourself? There may be something you would like to release that you're judging yourself for. What are those things I want to let go of that represent judgment, anger, resentment? Next, allow to be revealed to you if there's any limiting belief or false idea about yourself, about life in general. The universe is infinitely abundant. we are always at choice, and yet sometimes we grab on to the belief that we are limited or unworthy. What thoughts that limit us, that are ultimately untruths, do we want to release to the flame as we begin the new year? I am unworthy, I am too this or that, I can't. It never worked for me in the past, so it won't work in the future, etc. And next, in a world where there is still war, hunger, hatred, racism, we could go on and on. We sometimes get discouraged. We sometimes experience fear, hopelessness. Turning our attention to the truth of God's goodness and the infinite presence, as Rev Stephanie so beautifully prayed about, expressing in each person, not just the ones we get along with, not just the ones we agree with, but God expressing itself in each person. What then are those feelings that we would like to let go of so that our faith can grow in their place? So the eyes of Christ can see in place of our eyes that judge and are afraid. What feeling do I want to release as I approach this new year, as I enter this new year? Sometimes we have habits. Perhaps they once served us, perhaps they never did. Let's ask the heart, is there a habit or habits that I would like to let go of this year? Something I've habitually done to cope, perhaps, that does not serve me. And now let's just take a few minutes to ask Holy Spirit, that heart space, our higher selves, however you conceptualize it, is there anything else for me to know? Anything else for me to release into the burning bowl today? What else? What else? I give thanks for everything that has been revealed, and remind me and all of us that this process doesn't have to stop now. It can continue all week. If we've opened our hearts and we're listening to that voice, that intuitive voice within, we may well have other revelations. But for now, let's take another deep breath in. Let it go perhaps with a sigh. Take a moment, if you have not completed your flash paper, take that little white sheet of paper and choose a word or a phrase for each thing you want to release. You don't have to write the whole story, but that's what we will put in the candle in a moment. So we're going to do this in silence. And perhaps when you're finished, you can look up so I can know that we're ready to begin our ritual. looks as though most of you are ready. So I'm going to invite you to leave your index card, your pen, and your paperclip on your seat. We'll collect those later. As you're called, come on forward, and here's what we're going to do. I'll be first one here, but we'll drop. Well, let me show you. Can you all see? Vivian and Joy, come on up. You just silently come up and you do this. You drop it, and it disappears. It won't hurt you, I promise. When you come up, I think it would be good if you go to the middle aisle to come up to the bowl and then take turns. And then when you return, if you can, on the outside. So Melanie, maybe we can have you be up here. Can we fit through there, or is that not? What's this? Oh, okay. Yeah, you can move that, Sal? Awesome, okay. So up the middle aisle down, and we'll just do this in complete silence. And when you go back to your seat, if you can just, pray to know when we set an intention like this, Spirit answers. Spirit's already answered. All right? Come on up. You can line up if you're ready. Feel free to watch it disintegrate. Just put it in there and drop it, Cheryl. Let go. And then let go. There you go. Good. Perfect. Let go. Good. Yes, nice. It's okay, you know what's there. Yep, drop it. Good. Let's try again, Donna. Donna? I'll do it for you. Is that all right? Okay. Let go. Good. Just drop it, you're fine. Good job. Right on the flame. There you go. Just nudge it. There you go. Anyone else? Are we all complete? Beautiful. So let's just say a prayer over what just happened here. I entitled this experience this morning, From Ashes to Hope, a burning bowl for the soul. And so what I know is our soul, each of us, is lightened by this practice of turning within and asking that infinite divine intelligence that lives in each of our hearts for guidance. This intelligence that is everywhere present, all powerful, all knowing. It is a presence for good, for love. It is harmony, and it is joy and beauty, creativity, so much more. And since God, Spirit, is literally all there is, each of us and each of those around us, all of those on the planet, are made of God's stuff. We are each individualized expressions of that love, that intelligence, that goodness, all of it. And so what I know for what's happened today here is that we have each released something that we no longer need, a rock that is weighing or has been weighing heavy on us. And what I know is that there's that aspect of the divine presence called the law, which is completely subjective to our thoughts. It doesn't evaluate what to say yes to and no to. It simply says what? Yes, yes, yes. To each paper, to each thought, to each intention, the answer is yes. We have released it into the divine mind, that part of the mind called the law that responds. So each of these prayers is already in motion. In fact, each of these prayers is already done in the mind of the divine. So there's nothing for us to do except to follow guidance. We can let go of the ego's fears, the idea of separation, the idea of having to make something happen, and allow Spirit to answer our prayer, our intention. Allow Spirit to guide us if indeed there is an action we are called to take. When we go within and listen, we will hear, we will know. So I give thanks. I give thanks for each one here, for each one who listens online, for each prayer in the mind of the divine and answered. I give thanks to know these truths. I give thanks for the opportunity to share this, and I simply release this word, knowing it's heard, it's answered, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. Woo! I wanted to share one quote from our founder, Ernest Holmes, about this process of releasing, because, that's what we do when we pray. We affirm what we want, and then we release it into the law. He said this: the sooner we release our minds from the thought we have to create, the sooner we shall be able to work in line with Spirit, using that creative power. Thank you, my friends, for joining us in this beautiful, beautiful burning bowl for the soul. And thank you, too, for the lovely music. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Maybe we could give ourselves a hand.
So we're going to invite you to, I don't think we got words up for this, but some of you know it. So just listen to each other. We're going to invite you to sing along with us so you can really get that full release. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, You have to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
All right, time now for our tithes and offerings. I think do I have a plastic Benjamin? I don't know that I do. Plastic Benjamins are a way we can just ritually express our giving if we give online regularly, and those plastic Benjamins you can always pick up on your way in. But we have envelopes in the chair pockets of the purple chairs if you want to give cash, and put your name on there so we can credit you. Oh yes, thank you. Ellen is pointing to the basket. So they're going to pass around baskets. Do you want them to just put their stuff? Okay, so in addition to any donation you want to make in the basket, please put all your accoutrement, your clip, your paper clip, and your, you don't have to, if you want to keep your index card, of course you can, but your pen and your clip go in the basket. We'll collect those. If you want to keep the pen, you can actually, so it's up to you. So let's say our giving affirmation together. If you're watching online, if you'd like to make a donation, there is a QR code you can scan. And thank you to everyone who has continued to support this community, to have it be a healthy, happy place, and financially healthy as well, which is just such a joy. Let's say our affirmation together. You ready? Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
And back by special request. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet. For old lang syne, we twy run about the braes and both the goings fine, but we've wandered many a weary fit sin old lang syne. For old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet. For old lang syne, we twy paddled in the burn and morning sun till dine, but seas between us braid, hey Lord, sin old lang syne. For old Joe, for old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet, for old lang syne.
For old lang syne, my Joe,
For old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet, for old lang syne.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
so that song has a couple of words that may not be so familiar. So for Auld Lang Syne, my Joe, that's my dear, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet. So we're going to share a cup. And in the social hall, after the service, we know there's a sharing of food and community that happens. So
Thank you. Thank you, so sweet. A few announcements before we break for bread and fellowship in Bosworth Hall. Rev Steph, would you like to come up? Again, I'm going to plug, if you have 3 hours this afternoon, you cannot spend it any better way than to come to her workshop.
Thank
Tell
you
us
for the
about it.
plugging. It's lovely.
Yes.
So who's already signed up for my workshop? Let me see. Oh, so there's lots of room. And I want you to consider coming to the workshop and setting your goals for 2025 with the support of your spiritual community. Now, I know for some of you, you've set goals and they didn't happen and you didn't want to beat yourself up because the goals didn't happen. Anyone relate to that? Come on, be honest. Everyone set a goal they didn't meet, and then there's disappointment and a sense of failure. So I know for myself, I set goals when I was young for years and years and years. I want to meet my soulmate, but I wasn't willing to change. I wasn't willing to be a place of love. I just wanted someone to come and magically rescue me without me changing. And when it came to health, and I really wanted to give up drinking, but I wasn't willing to give up partying. So, can you imagine? I didn't get very far. And with money, I just wanted the money to be there. A nice big pile of money, so I didn't have to worry about paying the rent and buying my booze, I guess. So we're not about that. We're not about trying to get the outer world to fix us. We're about becoming a greater transparency for the spirit. And that's what the goal setting is about. It's about being open and expanded to bringing through more life, more love, more power, more joy, more generosity than we could have done before, until we set out an intention through writing it down. Writing it down is the powerful thing. And that's what I want to create space for you to do today. So please, sign up, come and see me. 12:30, we're going to get started. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph, Rev Steph. And please see her if you have any questions. She'd be glad to answer. Other things that we're kind of getting back to normal after the holidays now. So men's group will meet tomorrow at 11. Is that right, Alan? Poetry is Spiritual Practice and Tai Chi meet on Tuesday at 10 and 11:30 respectively. And Miracle Makers meets this week, Renee, at 10:30, all here. For those who don't receive our weekly e-newsletter, we're now printing a copy each week, and it's on the table in Bosworth Hall so you can read it. If you'd like to receive the e-newsletter, which comes out every Wednesday morning, there's a sign-up sheet in there for that as well. Anyone who's new who would like a name tag, there's a sign-up sheet for that in there as well. And we have a prayer box at the back of the sanctuary. So please, if you'd like our whole ecclesiastical team, 12 of us, to pray this week for you or someone you love or care about, or for the world, please submit a written prayer request. I'm going to invite the practitioners and ministers in the room up front right now. They are available after service for a brief, what we call 5-minute miracle. So don't leave here with a heavy heart as you begin this new year. Please see a practitioner who will listen and know the truth for you through prayer. Finally, a little benediction before we go to our closing song. I chose to read excerpts from a poem by the beautiful Maya Angelou. The poem is called Continue. My wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. Continue to ignore no vision which comes to enlarge your range and increase your spirit. Continue to dare to love deeply and risk everything for the good thing. Continue to float happily in the sea of infinite substance, which set aside riches for you before you had a name. Continue, and by doing so, you and your work will be able to continue eternally. And so it is.
All right, please stand for our closing song, I Am a Light. We are a light.
Oops. It's beautiful.
I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright.
You are a light.
You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine.